So reducing your risk is important and one of the primary objectives of the fire department. Earlier this week on Tuesday, we responded to a kitchen fire downtown, and a prominent reporter, Justin Andrews, was heating some grease to do some cooking, fell asleep, and awakened to smoke and fire on his stove. Instinctively seeing fire, knowing that water traditionally extinguishes fire, he took a large amount of water and threw it onto a grease fire. Now that's a huge no-no, but the point in why we're here is a lot of times just seeing fire, you just react. So this is a great time to remind your viewers what to do in a grease fire. Cooking fires are the leading cause of home structural fires and home fire injuries. Everyone cooks, so that's one of the primary reasons for that. So what you're gonna see today, we have a prop behind us. We have oil heated, okay? And it's going to catch fire. And our firefighters in full protective equipment are going to mimic what Justin Andrews did, just so your viewers can see what happens when you put water on a grease fire, okay? All right, before we get started, Captain Neighbors is going to talk to you about a few safety tips, things he wants you to keep into consideration to keep you safe. Captain Neighbors, here, come to me, come close to me so you'll be on the mic too.
Just real quick, if anything would go wrong and the firefighters would be in any danger, I'll just state that we have a real life emergency. I will ask that you take your equipment and move that way, because the firefighters, the safety team, will be coming in from this direction to take care of the incident. Jamie, if something does go wrong, if you'll go get your medical bag and have that ready. Okay?
All right.
That's all I got.
And that's going to move really quick. Okay. Let me get out of your way.
He's going to go get it now, Dave.
So while they're prepping, I'll just go ahead and give a few safety tips so you guys have it on camera or recorded. You know, if you're frying, one very important thing is to stay in the kitchen with your cooking. We recommend that you keep a lid close by, because if things do get heated or a fire develops, you can always slide the lid over the pan, and that will extinguish the fire. Basically, you're removing oxygen from the environment, and so the fire would go out. If you don't feel comfortable sliding a lid over the pan, then it's essential that you get everyone out of the house and call the fire department. Right, sort of a judgment call, but if you're not comfortable doing that, we recommend that you get everyone out, follow your family's emergency preparedness plan, get everyone out, and then contact the fire department. So again, the oil is heated, and so now we have the fire on the stove, right? This is the fire on the stove from the cooking incident, and here shortly we'll introduce water to it to show you how the fire grows exponentially once you do introduce water to a grease fire. So that's a good sized fire already, right? That's going to be a bit of an issue anyway, so you wouldn't be sliding a lid over that pan. You definitely want to get out with the fire this advanced. Oh. Okay, so we have the grease fire, and so the water should be introduced here shortly. Back, Bill. Are you good?
Hang on, don't.
Right, not yet.
Here where they are. Okay.
So, as you can see, introducing water to a grease fire is never a good idea. If this is your apartment or your home, that goes from a small fire to a well-involved kitchen fire, which can quickly spread to the rest of your home. Any questions? I feel like way back when they did the This Is Your Brain on Drugs, any questions? So, any questions relative to what you just saw?
What makes that fire explode like that? I know when you put the water, what about the water that makes it explode?
So, they don't mix, essentially, and the grease gets to a super heated temperature. Introducing water is just an explosive mixture. And there are certain elements that you can introduce water to. One that comes to the top of my mind right now when we're fighting car fires, magnesium. Magnesium is in small quantities in the steering block, and if you hit that with water, you'll get a very explosive reaction. And there are elements out there and compounds, chemicals, that if you introduce water, you're going to get an explosive reaction. We're the professionals, and you know, there are certain things that we know when you get into chemicals and hazardous materials situation, what not to apply water to. This is something that we need everyone to be mindful of, because everyone has access to grease, to cooking grease, fries, everyone cooks. So grease fires, water, not the option. A lid to slide over the pan is what we recommend. If you notice that the oil is smoking, right, it's probably too hot, right? And that's one of the problems when you get this stuff heated, and that's how we get a lot of the kitchen fires. The grease gets heated too hot, ignites, gets into the cabinetry, kitchen, home, disaster.
So if you can't put the lid on it,
Right.
call 911.
Well, there are other things you can do. You know, if you have an extinguisher that's rated, a carbon dioxide, what that's going to do is displace the oxygen, right? This is technical, but we call it the fire tetrahedron. And if you remove one of the 4 components, then you in essence extinguish fire. So displacing oxygen or removing that will extinguish the fire. So covering it, smothering it is a good idea. You hear people say copious amounts of baking soda, that will disrupt the chain. But if you're at that point, for safety's sake, and it's a judgment call for the homeowners, it's more than likely a good idea to go ahead into your family's emergency preparedness plan, get everyone out of the house, and call the professionals. This is why we're here. We're the greatest insurance policy you could ever have. And the sooner the better. We get into trouble too. A lot of people try to extinguish the fire or mitigate their own emergency, and you know, fire doubles every 90 seconds. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Okay. All right. Great show, everybody. Great show. Good job. Oh.